My second investment that I purchased cash, I paid I think it was 128 for it. I could have financed that and split it into 4 deals, and my net worth at that time, I could have split it into $1 million portfolio just with that 128,000, right? Instead, I did it in one deal, and, like, it was just looking back, I mean, I'm glad I made that mistake, but I could have really accelerated my journey. And so, having someone to mentor you and give you their mistakes and outline things for you really just cuts time. So you're collapsing time, you're saving a lot of mistakes, money, time, right? Which time really has, you learn over time that it's your most valuable asset that you have. You can never get it back. Money, you can find ways of bringing it back and generating income, but your time is so valuable, and we don't know what age we're going to be here.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I am joined by Hugi, who's been making serious moves in the real estate space. Hugi, glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Micah.
I'm excited for you to be here. I think our listeners are going to take something away from really how you've approached real estate in general. So what I'd love to do is dive in and hear your story on how you got to real estate and what all you've used it for.
Thank you. So I ended up really, like, my story's not very unique or special in the sense that my first goal was to live in a house, right? I grew up in an apartment always, with my mom and sister and grandmother. And so I just wanted the idea of being in a home, having a garden or backyard, and not having to take an elevator, right? Something that simple. So I went to college, I got my doctorate degree, I had a few jobs, and I started saving a lot of money, with the goal to pay off my student loans and then buy my first home, which was eventually my first investment down the road. But I went the traditional route. I just got an FHA, 3.5% down, and that was it. That was really the start of my journey. I didn't house hack. I didn't do anything special.
And so what led you to the next one then? So you grew up in that kind of house that I want my own house. You were able to do that. And then what kind of got that bug go for you to, okay, I want to do more of this. I want to see what this has to offer.
Yeah, so I started reading a lot. My first book was Robert Kiyosaki's. I think a lot of people start there, right? The Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was motivated, and I was like, all right, well, back then, back in 2012, the rates were super low, prices were really low, and so I picked up on the idea. I'm like, all right, well, I can get financing through my income. I just have to pay 20% down. And so I did that. And I made the first mistake of buying it cash, the second deal that I got into. And I didn't know better at the time. And so I just started doing that successfully for like 3, 4 deals. And then I was tapping out. I'm like, all right, I'm working way too much. And I had to start getting creative because I'm like, I don't want to keep working 6, 7 days a week just to save 20%. And that's all I knew back then. And so it got me, the wheels turning in the sense of, I was making, 5, 6 maybe up to 700 max in the properties passively that I was purchasing. And so I was like, all right, if I continue to do this, I can eventually leave my job. But then I got stuck, right? Because I was burnt out. So yeah, that led me to other creative financing. And then eventually I got a mentorship and, things went, I collapsed time once I did that.
That is not an uncommon story, or not a uncommon, yeah, I said that right, story either. How much just working with somebody who knows can help,
Hmm.
because
Oh
you
my
don't even
gosh.
know what you don't know when you get into this business.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Exactly. And I was so stubborn starting on, like, especially, and I can imagine if I were to start now, how it can get even more confusing because there's so many different strategies. Everybody's saying one way is the wrong way, the other's the right way. And, but you have success stories in each strategy in real estate. That's the beauty of it. So, um, I always try to encourage people. You have to look at your scenario, your risk tolerance. There's a lot of things that you have to look at. The idea is just to get started.
Agree. It's that, what is it you're trying to do? So what methods of real estate have you used to help you be successful? What all have you done?
I've dabbled in a little bit of everything. My portfolio, though, that led me to the success was the buy and holds. But really, I've done flips. I've been a funding partner. I've done wholesale. I've done some short term Airbnb. I've done a little bit of everything. Most recently, I got into commercial real estate, and so that's been a whole different journey in itself because it's different. It's more like a business once you get into commercial real estate. Their financing part is totally, it's night and day than residential. So it's been fun learning that route.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is. It's funny how people graduate. They get started in single family, they mess with those, they make some money, and they realize, oh, this bigger deal
Hmm.
could pay off for more. But I agree with what you said just a second ago, where in our current social media world, there's so many gurus about everything,
Hmm.
and each one saying this is the right way, this
Right.
is the right way. Real estate is such a big term. It's a huge umbrella. And one of the things I enjoy about it is, if you will just get started in it, pick one thing, get started, and be open. It doesn't mean that you don't get to pivot to other things as you grow, because that's when
Right.
those doors really start to open,
Hmm.
is as you keep exploring. So let me ask you this. Was there a moment where things got real for you, where a deal went sideways, or a time where you had to pivot fast?
Oh yeah. Actually, it was a deal that I was a funding partner in, and I can't remember the year, but I want to say it was like 2017, 2018. And I went against my traditional gut, which it was an opportunity and it was presented very nicely. And it was a 3 bedroom. Back then I was only doing single families or the small residential multifamily. And it was a 3 1s. And I never do 3 1s. At bare minimum, it's either 1 1, or if it's a 2 bedroom, I try to go for a two bath. But it was a 3 1 a home in Sunrise, Florida, and we tried flipping it. It never sold. It's held on the market. We decided to rent it for a year. And that deal just went sour really quick. I mean, by the end of it, we had to vacate the tenant. We had to put him up in a hotel for like a week. And we ended up selling and we took a loss. And so it was like a learning experience for me. And I always tell people every real estate investor has lost at some point in their journey, right? And the idea is that you learn from it and move on and do better next time. And so I didn't get discouraged to do it, but I did learn a lot in that whole process. And I've still done business with the person because it was the way that they handled the situation, and they were very transparent during the process and kept me in the loop. I didn't have to like hunt them down and like say what happened or. And so it was just one of those unfortunate deals that, didn't work out.
Would you say that you learn most from that experience?
Trusting my gut. I knew off the
Mm.
bat, and it was just one of those, like as you become an investor, you start learning your style, right? Again, there's not one right way or whatever, but you know your style, whether it's when you flip, you know the colors that you're going with, whatever. And so it was just a criteria for me, and I just got sold the vision. And even though it was something like your buy box I kind of went against what I traditionally invest in. And, it was just, I guess, a muscle that I had to keep exercising to learn from. And so that was one. And then the other is to do better due diligence. Because I could have done my own underwriting and, I kind of just briefly overlooked it. It was an investor that's far more experienced at that time than I was.
So just kind of assuming they were gonna take care of it, and it
Right,
turned around and got.
right.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
I think what's really important you said there is you mentioned the term buy box. And if you're listening and haven't heard that term before, I think it's very useful in this industry, especially just to create yourself some guidelines. Because one thing you always hear about saying yes to in entrepreneurship, be open, be open, be open. At some point, you do have to learn how to say no because
Right.
opportunities start coming in from everywhere. And if you really don't know what you're trying to do, you'll end up doing a bunch of different things that
Hmm.
may or most likely may not work out for you.
Very true. And real estate is one of those things that you can have a plan A and plan B, but sometimes none of them work, right? And so you have to get ultra creative at that point, and sometimes it means taking a loss.
It does, and just learning. I heard a quote earlier. The lessons we remember the most are the ones we pay for in cash,
Ooh,
and
I love that. So
yeah,
true.
those ones tend to stick. It's like you went to college, you went and got a PhD, you went and paid for that information. Same kind of concept, I guess,
Yeah,
just in a little more painful way of learning, most likely.
right. Right, exactly.
So looking ahead, what are you most focused on solving or scaling next?
So I'm very passionate about getting people to start investing, specifically the W-2 earners, because I worked the hospital setting for 12 years. And, around high income earners, you have nurses, doctors, therapists. And so we are not really taught how to invest. Barely even save, but once you save, like that money needs to grow. Just with inflation in general, your money is at a loss every year. So that idea of just saving is really outdated, right? And so I really like to get people to learn about even how to get their 401ks invested in real estate. It's an avenue that they can take, and a lot of people don't know about it. And so it's like really inspiring people to take action now and kind of make it urgent, right? Because I think we get into the misconception that we want that instant gratification, right? And real estate can be that, right? If you're on short cash, whatever, you can do arbitrage, right? Airbnb, that's still possible to do. Um, but longer term, like your retirement, if you're relying on your retirement, especially if you're younger, there's not going to be any social security. Pensions have far been out of the picture for some time. And so it's really educating people on how real estate can really be beneficial to you as a W-2 earner with tax benefits, especially if you're a single person paying, 20-30% tax bracket, how you can leverage real estate to have these deductions, especially now with this big, beautiful bill act that, we're bringing back 100% bonus depreciation, right? And things that are very favorable if you're a real estate investor. You can learn about how to become a real estate professional. And so just giving people the opportunity to set themselves up for success through the vehicle of real estate.
What's been that lesson for you that made people go into action? Has there been one particular thing that you've noticed when you're talking or working with somebody where it just clicks for them and they start taking those moves?
Yeah. So I did one-to-one coaching last year, and I had a few high income earners, in the um, six-figure income, and they were just shocked to see how much they're paying in taxes. I think people were just getting paid on autopilot, working, and don't ever take a chance to look at what they have in 401k. I would have them like take a look at their finances, how much they're spending each month. A lot of people didn't even know the amount of subscriptions that they're on. People don't take the time to look at their financial health. So once people took a deep dive of their finances and their paychecks, it was like a big red, like flashing light, like, okay, I need to do something. And so they took action. Right. And then if you multiply that, if they've been in the workforce for 10, 20 years and still have another 20 years, like what that could look like if they were to start taking action now. And so I think people start to realize, okay, time is very valuable and I really need to start now.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And I think you said this part earlier where the American dream's shifting a little bit. You know, I turned 40 a couple days ago. So I remember being taught, grow up, get an education, get a job, work hard, then retire. And it's just kind of what seemed like this very predictable path that you would go on. And I can say my journey through life has been anything but that predictable path.
Hmm.
And our generation is one where having to look and see, okay, what does it look like for us? What is
Hmm.
different about our world to make our dreams come true? And I definitely believe real estate is one of those things that can do that. So you mentioned mentorship. How big of a difference has that made for you in building relationships and growing your network in this industry?
I am a full stand on mentorships. I wasn't always there. I always felt like it's a waste of money and there's so many resources out there for you to educate yourself. And it is true, but that can take you years and a lot of mistakes. Like if I can, like going back to what I mentioned earlier, like my second investment that I purchased cash, I paid I think it was 128 for it. I could have financed that and split it into 4 deals, and my net worth at that time, I could have split it into $1 million portfolio just with that 128,000, right? Instead, I did it in one deal, and, like, it was just looking back, I mean, I'm glad I made that mistake, but I could have really accelerated my journey. And so, having someone to mentor you and give you their mistakes and outline things for you really just cuts time. So you're collapsing time, you're saving a lot of mistakes, money, time, right? Which time really has, you learn over time that it's your most valuable asset that you have. You can never get it back. Money, you can find ways of bringing it back and generating income, but your time is so valuable. And we don't know what age we're going to be here. We want to say we're going to grow old, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And so
Everybody gets to be young, not everybody gets to be old. We
exactly.
don't we don't we don't know that point, and it's
Right.
so true, and I fully believe real estate is a relationship business because it's such a big term, and there's so many little nuances like you were talking about where just one little thing that seems obvious now, if I would have just done this then, I could have had $1 million portfolio off the 128 grand that I spent. But
Mhm.
I like to say this too. We all know how much money we're saving, but we never know how much money we're losing when we don't invest in those kind of
Mm,
opportunities for someone to teach us, because that's what I've seen time and time again is you do cut off time, you do cut off mistakes, and those mistakes, they are very valuable. They
right.
keep tons of money in your pocket by just not making them.
Yeah, and I love that you said that because one of the students that I just helped now, she's house hacking. And so something as simple as that, if she didn't have that mentorship to guide her, she was looking at double, $800,000 single families, and then now she cut back her mortgage. She's barely paying, she's paying much less. And so again, there's so many ways that I can go back. Like even me being single back then, I could have house hacked too. And so between my house hacking and that second deal, I could have had 8 units in 2 years, and so again, only mentorship would have allowed me to do that. But and it's okay. I'm not trying to like regret, but it's just you know another reason why mentorship. I strongly believe in them. Right? They're a great way for you to fast forward and into success.
And you mentioned you were doing some coaching. And one thing I've noticed about people who have invested in mentors, they do get so much value out of it, they typically become them.
Yeah.
It kind of has a natural progression of really it's the abundance mindset going forward. That's something I like about real estate too, is when you start working with the higher level people in it, you get out of those free sources, you do start to run into people where they are willing to show you. If
Hmm.
you're willing to do what it takes to get through the door, then
Right.
you get access to all the information. Because one thing there is so much free info out there, but you can't ask that free info questions.
No,
You
to
can
have
you can
that
rewind the
person.
video and you can watch it again, but those really particular questions that you start to run into in the middle of a deal, being able to just pick up the phone and call somebody, it's the
Hmm.
difference of getting a deal or not. I mean, it's the difference of
100%.
being successful or not.
I agree. I agree. That alone, and honestly, when you look at it, the return on investment when you pay for mentorship, you get it immediately, right? For many reasons, especially what you said, the mindset, right? I heard someone. I wish I remembered who said it, but it stuck to me till this day. And they say that the biggest real estate is your mind. Like, and I thought of it. I'm like, oh my god, I love that. It's so true. It all starts in your mindset, right? It's like kind of changing the way that we see things, right? And seeing the opportunity of real estate rather than like the burden or like analysis process, like all these things that we get into, but really it's just a mindset thing.
And it's funny how much you run into personal development, especially in the real
Hmm.
estate and entrepreneurship space. You realize that if I'm not getting my mind stronger, I'm not getting anywhere because
Mm,
it's not that our problems or challenges don't stop. They only get bigger. They're only worth
yeah.
more
Hmm.
money. And if your mind is not able to handle that and adjust for that, that's when you start to lose. And that's when you typically see folks make their big mistakes is
Right.
they got out of that space. They got ahead of themselves in a
Mm,
sense to where, "Oh, shoot, I'm here now and I didn't mean to get here," and that there's truly nothing like and it reverberates through your whole life. That's what I've enjoyed about it is it's not just real estate lessons you're learning when you work with them. You're learning all of life lessons. You'll see so many things that cross into being a parent, being a good friend, being a good spouse, whatever it is, where it's just that how you handle the problem in front of you, how you handle
mm.
the communication, how you all of it, because you can't just freak out. You can't
Oh
just
no.
turn off.
Oh no.
There's a quote is from actually it's from the last Hunger Games. One of the guys says this, and I don't know why it stuck with him, but he looked at one of the characters, he said, "It's 10 times easier to keep yourself together now when it's hard than it is to put yourself back together if you fall apart." And I was just
Mm,
like, "Wow,
I love
that's
that. I'm gonna have to remember
powerful,"
that.
because it's in that moment of hard where it feels so easy just to let it go, like just stop or tap
Mm,
out or whatever it is. And we all go through that in our real estate journey, but having that mental fortitude, say, "Okay,
mm-hmm.
deep breath. I don't have to solve the whole problem today, just this little piece, and then
Right.
solve that little piece and that little piece." And then, like you were saying, our time's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I view time as it adds up. Like if you get to enjoy some, it's adding up. And if you can keep stacking it in a way where the lessons compound, that's where
Mm,
as we get older into our upper years, if you make it, it's where, how's my dad say? It's where everything you learn starts to become wisdom. You get
right.
to use it in life and you start to see, wow, that's how people made it where they made it. Look how
Right.
it's not that they were super geniuses. They just kept learning. They didn't stop.
Right, and I love that you say that because it's so true. Like my story is not anything special. I didn't come from money. I didn't have like the leg up or like right off the bat. Like I worked my way through. And so if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? It's really just a mental fortitude to just challenge yourself and commit, right? When I first started, I wasn't focused on like, oh, just $200-300 for my first home. No, I'm like, all right, well, I'll do it with this one and then we'll see. Like my next one may be more. And so I just one deal at a time, and I didn't overwhelm myself with like, okay, I have to be able to retire in 3 years, or I didn't set myself up like that. I just kind of went at my own pace and it worked out, right? Like I never knew I'd be mentoring and getting into commercial, it's like you start exploring all these different avenues down the road, and you evolve throughout the process.
Again, another reason I love real estate is if you do get a little bit bored with one of the
Mhm.
avenues you're on, adjust. It's
Right.
huge. You can go find that space that you really enjoy where I would say it pays your emotional paycheck too. Because that's what
Mm,
keeps us going. Is
yes.
it's fun to make a lot of money, but you came from a world where people make a ton of money and are still burnout. So it's like it's
Yeah.
not just the money that does it. Like if what you're doing isn't paying you emotionally as well, you won't keep going. And to be in an industry that lets you adjust or that moves with your life, because we all have different things. I think you mentioned before, you just had a brand new child.
Mhm.
So we have a new baby that's in the world, and you still have all these options on, okay, how do I want to adjust my life right now so I have time to be right here? And
Mm,
real estate's one of the things that lets you do that.
absolutely. And I think for my background being in a healthcare professional, and during COVID, I think that really, really changed the healthcare world in general. And, a lot of people got burnt out. And early on, when COVID, we had no idea what it was and we were still trying to figure it out. A lot of people left the profession. And, they, so it's like another idea. Like if you start now, you can piggyback off of this and you can make it a business. And, you know, uh, again, it's very vast. Real estate is a beautiful career to get into, and it can be as quick, as a wholesale deal, right? If you don't have a lot of money to start with too, that's another option. And it can get very complicated. If you want something a little bit more longer term, you can get into commercial. I know people eventually get into the lending space after a while. They become private lenders, they become the banks.
There's a
So it's
There
like
you
a
graduate
scale.
to.
Right. Yeah.
It's where it's what I see is it's where it becomes more passive. Like a lot of folks get into real estate to be passive income, but in the early years, it is not passive
Active.
at all.
Yeah.
It is far from it. Like I heard somebody say it the other day, real estate is a get rich slow scheme, and it's almost guaranteed to work if you're willing to do the work. And I was like, oh, that's
Hmm.
a fascinating way to think about it. Like, yeah, people have their home runs and those things, but that true generational wealth, that is a dedication to
Oh,
the
yeah.
industry over a long period of time.
Hmm.
And constantly learning and unlearning.
Mhm. Right. And the market, like I said, it's constantly shifting too, and so, being able to adjust and pivot when needed. And again, a lot of times it's a mindset, like, people are so hesitant, they're saying that the rates are so high, and it's like, "All right, well, back in the late '90s and 2000s, it was higher." It was actually, even in the '90s, my mom, I remember when she purchased her condo, she paid, I think it was 8%. She had a variable interest back then. And so it just kind of, I think we got so lucky for so many years in the low fours and fives that people forgot, that it's still relatively low being in the six, you know.
It I was doing a call the other day with a gentleman, he's been investing for like 45 years, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember when they were 15%."
Yeah.
So
Oh, in the
people complaining
yeah,
right now,
80s.
it's like, it's really just we grew up kind of in an era where it was
R-
lower. We just
Right.
naturally experienced this
We
lower interest, and
we
now
got
it comes out and
lucky.
it's like, "Well, why is it so high?" And other people are like, it ain't that high."
No, it's not.
Compared to what I've been through for this, it's not that high. The
Right.
houses might be a little more expensive, but the money
Right.
the
Mhm.
interest rate ain't that high.
No, and to be
Okay.
honest, if you get into fix and flips and you're doing hard money land, you're at the 12%. So again, it's all perspective. I was one of those early on, like I said, that I was like, I'm not gonna pay 12%, whatever. And then it's like what I tell people, real estate is a math game. Like it's a numbers game. If your underwriting calls for still having profits at 12%, then do it. It's a no-brainer there. These people are willing to loan you. You don't have to come out of pocket. It's like you learn to use other people's money to scale. And so yeah, it's again, it winds down back to the mindset.
And being able to willing to take that risk, because there's just things that come along with it, and the ones I see that are super successful, they're okay with risk. They
Right.
can stomach that well,
Uh-huh.
right? And if you're someone who can do that, this is an excellent industry to be in. Okay, before we wrap up, if someone wanted to reach out and connect with you, maybe collaborate or learn more about what you're doing, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Through Instagram, my handle is HUGIC at Hugi C, or Facebook too. Hugi C, it's HUGI and then CEE. Both of those are are good options.
We'll make sure that those are in the description on the show so that y'all have easy access to that.
Awesome.
Hugi, I appreciate your time, your story, and perspective. Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you
I
for
think we need
having
more
me.
people in the space. Yeah, like you, that's doing it, like getting out there
Awesome.
and building a real business. So, for those of you tuning in, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like it, subscribe to our podcast. We have more operators coming up, just like Hugi, who are out there building real businesses. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.